My wife slept with my brother-in-law on our wedding anniversary while I was cooking dinner for her, and the truth came out when our 6-year-old accidentally mentioned uncle sleeping in mommy's room at a family barbecue. I cheated first. Let me get that out there before I tell you how my world imploded. 3 months before everything went to, I kissed my coworker Sarah at the office Christmas party. Just a kiss, I told myself. Just neediness and the way she looked at me like I was still someone worth wanting. My wife Emma had been distant for months. Working late, always on her phone, barely looking at me when I walked into the room. Our 6-year-old daughter Mia was the only bright spot in our house, but even bedtime stories felt hollow when Emma would disappear upstairs without a word. That kiss with Sarah lasted maybe 10 seconds. I pulled away, apologized, and went home to Emma, scrolling through her phone in bed. I should have told her right then. Should have fought for us instead of letting guilt eat me alive while I watched our marriage crumble in slow motion. Instead, I made myself into the perfect husband. Started cooking elaborate dinners, planning date nights. Emma would cancel last minute, buying flowers, so she'd leave them wilting on the counter. I was trying to earn forgiveness for something she didn't even know I'd done. The irony tastes like now. Our 7th wedding anniversary fell on a Thursday. I took the day off work, picked up Mia from school early, and sent Emma a text about the special dinner I was planning. She responded with a thumbs up emoji. Not even words. I spent 3 hours making her favorite meal, homemade pasta with the cream sauce that took forever, but always made her smile. Mia helped me set the table with our good china, the stuff we only used for holidays. She drew a card with stick figures of our family, all holding hands. Is mommy going to be happy? She asked, coloring in the hearts around the border. I hope so, sweetheart. Emma texted at 5:30 saying she'd be late. Work emergency. Could I put Mia to bed, and she'd have dinner when she got home? The pasta was already starting to congeal, but I wrapped it up and kissed Mia goodnight. At 11 p.m., Emma finally walked through the door. Her hair was messed up, lipstick gone, and when I hugged her, she smelled wrong. Not like her perfume. Like someone else's cologne. Sorry about dinner, she said, not meeting my eyes. Crazy day. I wanted to confront her. Wanted to scream that I knew something was wrong, that we needed to talk, that our marriage was hanging by a thread, and we were both too scared to do it. Instead, I heated the pasta and watched her pick at it while scrolling through Instagram. Happy anniversary, I said. She looked up like she'd forgotten. Oh. Yeah. Happy anniversary. That's when I knew she was cheating too. The next few weeks were a masterclass in denial. We moved around each other like ghosts, keeping up appearances for Mia while our marriage rotted from the inside. Emma started working late 3 nights a week. I pretended not to notice the new underwear, the way she guarded her phone, the guilt in her eyes that mirrored my own. I should have said something. Should have confessed about Sarah and demanded honesty in return. Should have fought for what we'd built instead of watching it with a whimper. But I was a coward. And cowards don't get to control how their secrets come out. The family barbecue was Emma's idea. We should have everyone over, she said one Saturday morning, the first time she'd initiated conversation in weeks. For my dad's birthday next weekend. I thought maybe she was trying. Maybe the barbecue was her way of saying we could fix this, that family still mattered. I spent all week planning the menu, cleaning the house, hoping this could be a turning point. Emma's whole family came. Her parents, her sister Kate with her husband Mike, her brother James with his kids. Mike had always been the golden boy, successful lawyer, perfect husband, the one Emma's parents wished she'd married instead of me. James was the one who couldn't hold down a job and lived in their guest house. I was manning the grill, trying to make small talk with Mike about his latest case, when Mia came running over with her cousins. Daddy, can we have ice cream before dinner? After you eat, sweetheart. But Uncle James said we could have it now, like when he sleeps in Mommy's room and brings ice cream for breakfast. The world stopped. Mike's bottle slipped from his hand and shattered on the deck. Emma's mom went white. Her dad started coughing like he was choking. I looked across the yard to where Emma stood frozen by the picnic table, her face a mask of pure terror. James had gone completely pale, like all the blood had drained from his body. What did you say, baby? I asked Mia, my voice sounding far away. Uncle James sleeps in your bed with Mommy sometimes when you're at work. He brings ice cream and they watch movies. But it's a secret. She looked around at all the faces staring at her. Did I say something wrong? Emma's sister Kate started crying. Her dad stood up so fast his chair fell over. Mike was staring at me like I'd grown a second head. Mia, go inside and wash your hands for dinner, I managed to say. She ran off, confused by the sudden tension but happy to escape it. The silence stretched on forever. 23 people at a family barbecue and you could hear the neighbor's lawn mower 3 houses away. Emma finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper. Jake, I can explain. Explain what? My voice cracked. Explain how my 6-year-old knows her uncle sleeps in our bed? Explain why she thinks it's normal. Explain how you turned our daughter into an accessory to your affair? James stepped forward. Jake, listen. Don't. I held up my hand. Don't you dare say a word to me. Emma's dad was staring at James like he'd never seen him before. You slept with your brother-in-law's wife? In their bed? With your niece in the house? Dad, please, Emma started. While he was at work? Her mom added, her voice shaking. While he was supporting this family? Kate was sobbing now. Emma, how could you? Jake's been nothing but good to you. The shame in that moment was crushing. Not just for Emma and James, but for me too. Because standing there in front of everyone, I realized they all saw what I'd been too blind to accept, that I'd been a joke for months. The clueless husband is cooking dinner while his wife and his brother-in-law are in their marital bed. With our daughter in the house. That's what broke me. Not the betrayal itself, but the way they'd involved Mia. The way they'd normalized it for her made her think it was just another family arrangement. Uncle James sleeps over sometimes. Bring ice cream. Nothing weird about that. Get out, I said to James. Jake. Get out. I screamed, loud enough that neighbors started looking over their fences. Get out of my house before I do something we'll all regret. James grabbed his keys and ran. Ran, like the coward he'd always been. Emma was crying now, mascara streaming down her cheeks. Jake, please. Let me explain. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. I looked around at her family, all staring at us like we were some sick reality show. How long? What? How long has this been going on? She couldn't answer. Just stood there crying while her family watched their golden daughter fall apart. How long, Emma? 4 months, she whispered. 4 months. Starting right after I kissed Sarah. Like she knew somehow and decided to get revenge in the cruelest way possible. In our bed? She nodded. With Mia in the house? Another nod. I felt something inside me right then. Not just my marriage, but my faith in everything I thought I knew about the woman I'd loved for 10 years. I want everyone to leave, I said. Now. Emma's dad started gathering plates. Her mom was crying. Kate couldn't even look at me. Emma, you too. This is my house too. Not anymore. She stared at me for a long moment, maybe seeing something in my face that told her I meant it. Then she grabbed her purse and followed her family to their cars. I stood alone on my deck, surrounded by half-eaten hamburgers and broken bottles, listening to car doors slam and engine start. Through the sliding door, I could see Mia in the living room, playing with her dolls like nothing had happened. Like her whole world hadn't just exploded. The worst part? Part of me was almost relieved. Because now I didn't have to carry my guilt about Sarah alone anymore. Now we were both cheaters, both liars, both equally to blame for destroying our family. Except we weren't equal at all. She'd brought her brother-in-law into our home, our bed, our daughter's life. She'd made Mia complicit in her affair without the little girl even knowing what she was seeing. That night, after I put Mia to bed and she asked why mommy left without saying goodnight, I sat in my living room and realized I was completely, utterly alone. And it was only going to get worse. Emma moved in with her parents the next day while I was at work. Came back with her sister to pack bags while Mia was at school, like a thief in the night. Left a note on the kitchen counter. We need to talk about custody. I'll call you tomorrow. I'm sorry it happened this way. Sorry, it happened this way. Not sorry it happened. Sorry, it got exposed at a family barbecue in front of everyone we knew. I crumpled the note and threw it away, then immediately dug it out of the trash. Evidence, I thought. For the lawyer I couldn't afford. Mia came home from school asking why mommy's clothes were gone from the closet. I told her mommy was staying with grandma and grandpa for a while, that sometimes grown-ups need space to think. She accepted it with that heartbreaking resilience kids have when their world falls apart. Is it because of what I said about Uncle James? She asked that night at bedtime. My heart shattered. No, sweetheart. Nothing that happened is your fault. Sometimes adults make mistakes, and this is about our mistakes, not yours. She nodded solemnly, like she understood more than a 6-year-old should have too. Emma called the next evening while I was helping Mia with homework. Can we meet somewhere to talk? Without lawyers? You brought your brother-in-law into our daughter's life and made her think it was normal. What exactly is there to talk about? I know you're angry. Angry? I laughed, but it sounded more like choking. Emma, angry is what I'd be if you dented the car. This is something else entirely. Silence on her end. She calls it Uncle James sleeps in mommy's room, I continued. Like it's a fun sleepover. Do you understand what you've done to her? What kind of therapy is she going to need to unpack this? You're being dramatic. Am I? Our 6-year-old was keeping secrets about relationships because you two were too selfish to get a hotel room. More silence. I kissed someone, I said suddenly. The words just fell out. What? 3 months ago. At the Christmas party. I kissed my coworker Sarah. For about 10 seconds. Then I spent 3 months hating myself and trying to be a better husband while you were screwing your brother-in-law in our bed. I could hear her breathing on the other end. So we're both cheaters, Emma. But only one of us involved our daughter. She hung up. The next few days were a blur of phone calls with lawyers I couldn't afford and friends I'd neglected while trying to save my marriage. Word spread fast in our small town. Emma's family barbecue confession had witnesses, and witnesses talk. Sarah from work texted me, "Heard what happened. I'm so sorry. If you need someone to talk to." I deleted the message without responding. That ship had sailed straight into an iceberg. My brother called from California. Mom told me about Emma. Jesus, Jake. I'm flying out. Don't. I need to figure this out on my own. You don't have to do this alone. But I did. Because admitting I needed help meant admitting I'd failed at everything that mattered. Failed as a husband, failed as a father, failed as a man who couldn't keep his family together. The hardest part was watching Mia try to process what was happening. She'd ask when Mommy was coming home, why we couldn't all live together, and if Uncle James was still her uncle. I gave her age-appropriate answers that felt like lies. Sometimes families look different, I told her. But I will always be your daddy, and Mommy will always be your mommy, even if we don't live in the same house. Like Sarah's parents? Sarah was her friend from school, whose parents were divorced. Mia had asked me once why some kids had two houses for Christmas morning. Now she was one of those kids. Yeah, sweetheart. Like Sarah's parents. Emma called again a week later, this time with her lawyer on the line. They wanted to discuss custody arrangements. 50-50 split, alternating weeks, all very civilized and modern. What about James? I asked. What about him? Is he going to be around when Mia's with you? Silence. Then her lawyer, Mr. Thompson, that's not your concern once custody is established. It is. See, my daughter already knows Uncle James sleeps in Mommy's room. So either you guarantee he won't be around during Emma's custody time, or we let a judge decide what's best for Mia. More silence. Emma? I pressed. He won't be there, she said quietly. But I could hear the lie in her voice. Or maybe I just knew her too well. Knew that whatever she felt for James was stronger than her shame about how it started. 2 weeks after the barbecue, I was at the grocery store with Mia when we ran into Emma's mom. She looked older, like the family scandal had aged her overnight. Jake, she said, her voice careful. Mrs. Peterson. How's Mia doing? She's adapting. Kids are resilient. We stood there in the cereal aisle, this woman who'd been my mother-in-law for 7 years, not knowing what to say. Mia was comparing cartoon characters on cereal boxes, oblivious to the tension. I want you to know, Mrs. Peterson said finally, what Emma did. It's not how we raised her. I know. And James? She shook her head. We asked him to move out. He's staying with friends now. Good, I thought. But I just nodded. Emma's not herself lately. This whole thing, it's like she's become someone I don't recognize. I almost laughed. Not herself? This was exactly her. This was who Emma had always been underneath the perfect wife facade, someone who took what she wanted without thinking about who got it. People show you who they are when they think nobody's watching, I said. Mrs. Peterson's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry, Jake. For all of it. That night, after Mia was asleep, I found myself going through old photo albums. Wedding pictures where Emma looked radiant, and I looked so young and hopeful. Family vacations where we all looked happy. Christmas mornings with Mia between us, all of us in matching pajamas, Emma insisted on buying every year. All of it felt like evidence from someone else's life. The divorce papers came a month later. Emma was asking for the house, claiming she needed stability for Mia. Her lawyer had done their homework, my income was higher, but Emma had been the primary caregiver, the one who handled school events and doctor appointments while I worked late trying to build a career. Trying to provide for a family that was disintegrating while I wasn't looking. My lawyer, a tired-looking man who smelled like coffee and defeat, laid out the reality. She's got a strong case for the house. Primary caregiver, child stability, all that. You'll likely get your custody, but the financials. He shrugged. You're looking at alimony and child support. Might want to consider selling and splitting the proceeds instead. Selling our house. The place where Mia took her first steps, where we'd painted her bedroom princess pink when she turned 4, where I'd proposed to Emma in the backyard under string lights. Emma had brought James into our bed while our daughter slept down the hall. Sell it, I said. My lawyer looked surprised. You sure? It's your family home. It stopped being a family home the day she brought him there. That night, I walked through the house like I was saying goodbye to a ghost. Every room held memories that felt poisoned now. The kitchen where I'd cooked our anniversary dinner while Emma was with James. The living room where Mia played while her mother conducted an affair upstairs. Our bedroom, where I'd slept next to Emma for months while she planned her escapes to be with her lover. I ended up in Mia's room, looking at her drawings on the wall. Stick figure families with big smiles. Hearts and rainbows and the word love spelled out in purple crayon. She'd drawn one just last week, Mommy, Daddy, and Mia holding hands in front of a house. But now there was a fourth figure in the picture. A tall man she'd labeled Uncle James was standing next to Mommy. In a 6-year-old's mind, he was just part of the family now. I took the drawing down and put it in the box with the divorce papers. More evidence of what we'd lost, what we'd broken, what could never be fixed. The next morning, Mia asked if we could call Mommy. She's probably busy, sweetheart. But I miss her. So I called Emma, who answered on the fourth ring. Mia wants to talk to you. I handed over the phone and listened to my daughter's side of the conversation. Yes, she was being good for Daddy. Yes, she missed Mommy too. Yes, she understood Mommy needed to stay with Grandma for a while longer. Then, is Uncle James there? Can I talk to him? My throat went cold. Emma must have said something, because Mia's face fell. Oh. Okay. Maybe next time. She handed the phone back to me. Emma was already gone. Hung up rather than explain to our daughter why Uncle James wasn't available, or admit that he was there and she'd lied about keeping him away. That's when I knew for certain, this wasn't over between them. The family barbecue, the public shame, the divorce, none of it mattered. Emma was going to choose James over everything else. Over Mia, over co-parenting, over any chance we had of keeping our daughter's world stable. And there was nothing I could do to stop it. The house sold faster than anyone expected. 4-bedroom colonials in good school districts move quickly, even when they're being sold by a man whose marriage imploded at a family barbecue. I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment across town. Mia got the bigger bedroom with windows facing the playground behind our complex. I tried to make it feel like home with her old furniture and stuffed animals, but it felt like playing house in someone else's life. Emma moved back into her parents' basement with Mia every other week. The irony wasn't lost on me. The woman who demanded the house for stability was now raising our daughter in the same bedroom where she'd had her teenage rebellion. Mia adapted better than I did. Kids always do. She decorated both bedrooms with her artwork, established routines for both houses, and made friends at her new school near my apartment. Sometimes I'd catch her on the phone with friends, explaining casually that she had 2 houses now, like Maya and Connor. Divorce had become so normal that 6-year-olds had a vocabulary for it. The first time Emma brought James to one of Mia's school events, I wanted to cause a scene. Parent-teacher conferences at the elementary school, all of us sitting in tiny plastic chairs while Mrs. Martinez explained Mia's progress in reading. James stayed quiet, let Emma do the talking, but I could see other parents whispering. Our story had made the rounds. The cheating wife, the brother-in-law, the family barbecue confession. Small towns don't forget scandals easily. After the conference, in the school parking lot, Emma finally confronted me. You can't keep giving us dirty looks every time we're in the same room. I can do whatever I want. You lost the right to police my reactions when you slept with your brother-in-law in our bed. James stepped forward. Jake, maybe we should. Don't. I turned on him. Don't you dare try to mediate this. You want to play daddy to my daughter, that's between you and Emma. But you don't get to speak to me. Ever. He's not playing daddy, Emma said. He's my partner now. Mia likes him. Partner? Like they'd met at a yoga class instead of betraying their entire family. Of course she likes him. She's 6. She liked the clown at her birthday party, too, but I wouldn't marry him. Emma's face flushed red. You're being childish. I'm being a father. There's a difference. That night, Mia asked why I looked sad during her school conference. I wasn't sad, sweetheart. Just tired. Mommy says you don't like Uncle James. Here it was. The conversation I'd been dreading. It's complicated, Mia. Sometimes adults have disagreements. But he's nice to me. He bought me ice cream and helped with my homework. Ice cream. The same ice cream he'd brought during their sleepovers at our house. My stomach twisted. I'm glad he's nice to you. But you know you can talk to me about anything, right? If anyone ever makes you feel uncomfortable or asks you to keep secrets? She nodded, but I could see the confusion in her eyes. Why would Uncle James make her uncomfortable? He was just Uncle James, who brought ice cream and made Mommy smile. That's what haunted me most. Not just that Emma had betrayed me, but that she'd made James a hero in our daughter's story. The fun uncle who showed up with treats while me and Daddy asked too many questions. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, Emma called with news. James and I are getting married. I sat down on my couch. How's that going to work exactly? You're marrying the man you cheated with. At family gatherings. We're not having a big wedding. Just immediate family. Whose immediate family? Because last I checked, his immediate family is also your immediate family. Silence. Have you thought this through, Emma? Your parents, your sister Kate? You're asking them to celebrate your marriage to the man who helped you out of your first marriage. Kate's husband was there when Mia announced your affair to the entire family. They'll come around. But I could hear the uncertainty in her voice. What about Mia? What about her? You're marrying her uncle. The man she already thinks of as part of the family. How are you going to explain that relationship to her when she gets older? She doesn't need to know the details. She's going to figure it out, Emma. Kids aren't. Someday, Essie's going to do the math and realize her stepfather was sleeping with her mother while her parents were still married. While she was in the house. That's years away. No, it's not. She's already asking questions about why Daddy doesn't like Uncle James. What happens when she starts wondering why Mommy married Daddy's brother-in-law? What happens when other kids at school ask her about it? Emma hung up on me. Again. The wedding happened on a Thursday in March. I found out because Mia came home from Emma's weekend confused about why Mommy and Uncle James were having a grown-up party without her. They said I was too little for the party, but Grandma cried during it. Happy crying, Mommy said, but it looked like sad crying. Even Emma's mother couldn't fake joy at watching her daughter marry her son-in-law. A week later, Mia started calling James Daddy James. Not because anyone told her to, but because her friends at school said that's what you call the man your mommy marries. You're still my real daddy, she assured me. But now I have two daddies. Two daddies. One who'd helped create her and spent 7 years trying to build a stable home. Another who'd helped destroy that home and was now reaping the benefits. The sick part? I could see that James genuinely cared about Mia. He wasn't some predator who'd targeted a family for destruction. He was just a weak man who'd fallen for his brother-in-law's wife and was too selfish to walk away before a child got involved. But caring about her didn't undo the damage. Didn't change the fact that Mia's normal meter was permanently broken. She'd grown up thinking affairs were just sleepovers with ice cream. That families could be reconfigured at will, that loyalty and commitment were suggestions rather than promises. What happens to a kid who learns that early that the adults in her life will lie, cheat, and betray each other, but still expect her love and trust? I started taking Mia to therapy. Dr. Rodriguez was patient and kind, with an office full of toys and drawings from other kids whose families had exploded. She's resilient, Dr. Rodriguez told me after the third session. Kids adapt. But she's also learned some concerning patterns about relationships and honesty. Concerning how? She's very focused on keeping adults happy. Tells people what she thinks they want to hear. Classic behavior for children who've been inadvertently involved in secrets. Secrets. Like sleeping in Mommy's room was a fun game instead of evidence of her parents' betrayal. The good news is she trusts you completely. Sees you as the stable parent, the one who tells the truth. The stable parent. The consolation prize for being the one who didn't cheat. Last month, Mia came home from Emma's weekend with a story about meeting James's family at a restaurant. Daddy James has a brother who looks just like him. And his mom gave me a present. James's family. The people who were now Mia's stepfamily, through the most twisted route possible. I wondered if they knew the whole story, or if Emma and James had sanitized it for public consumption. His brother asked if I was excited about having a baby brother or sister, Mia continued. My heart stopped. What did you tell him? I said I didn't know about any babies. Was he confused? That night, I called Emma. Are you pregnant? That's none of your business. It is if Mia's going to have a half-sibling. It is if you're building a whole new family with the man you cheated with while our daughter watches. I'm not pregnant. James's brother was just making conversation. But she'd hesitated just long enough for me to know the truth. 2 weeks later, Emma confirmed it. 8 weeks pregnant. Due in December. Mia's excited, she said, like that made everything okay. Excited because she was 6 and loved babies and didn't understand that this child would represent the final nail in the coffin of her original family. This baby would be what Emma and James created together, while Mia was the reminder of Emma's previous life. The child she'd have on purpose with the man she'd chosen, versus the child she'd had in love before everything went wrong. I hung up the phone and sat in my empty apartment, listening to the neighbors upstairs arguing about something trivial. Outside, kids were playing in the playground behind our complex, their voices high and carefree. Mia would never be that carefree again. None of us would. Because here's what nobody tells you about affairs that destroy families: the damage isn't just to the marriage. It's to everyone who ever believed in that marriage, everyone who thought they understood what love and commitment meant. Emma's parents lost their faith in their daughter. Kate lost her trust in her family. Mia lost her innocence about relationships. And I lost my belief that people you love can't destroy you completely. But the worst part, the part that keeps me awake at 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling, is knowing that I started this chain reaction with a 10-second kiss at a Christmas party. I cheated first. Emma just cheated better. And now our daughter calls another man daddy while learning that love is conditional, families are disposable, and the adults who promise to protect you will use you as a shield for their destruction. Last week, Mia asked me if I was lonely in my apartment. Sometimes, sweetheart. But I have you every other week, and that makes me happy. Maybe you could get married again, too. Then I'd have 2 mommies and 2 daddies. 2 mommies and 2 daddies. Like collecting parents was a hobby, like marriage was just musical chairs with higher stakes. Maybe someday, I told her. But the truth is, I'll never trust anyone enough to let them close to the pieces of my daughter's heart that are still intact. Emma and James are expecting their baby in 3 months. They'll have their fresh start, their perfect family built on the wreckage of the one we destroyed together. They'll get their happily ever after while Mia grows up thinking this is what love looks like. And me? I get to live with the knowledge that a moment of weakness, a single kiss I wish I could take back, set in motion the destruction of everything I thought I was building. The saddest part is that Emma was probably right to cheat on me. I kissed Sarah because I was already checked out of our marriage, already looking for something Emma couldn't give me. Maybe if I'd been honest about that, if I'd fought for us instead of betraying us, she never would have ended up in James's arms. But I wasn't honest. I was a coward who kissed another woman and then spent months trying to earn forgiveness from a wife who was already gone. Now Mia thinks Uncle James is her second daddy, Emma's building the family she wanted, and I'm the weekend parent who gets to explain why mommy's new baby will never be quite the same as her first one. Some mistakes you can fix. Some betrayals you can forgive. And some 10-second kisses echo for the rest of your life, destroying everyone enough to love you.